Hey, welcome back. Quick favor before we start. Subscribe to this channel. I dig up real cases you won't hear anywhere else. Comment your city and your viewing time. That way, YouTube will keep showing you stories like this one. Alright, lights off, listen close. My name is Henrik. I always thought the chime on my phone for a new delivery was just annoying, until that one pinged at 11:45 p.m. on a sticky summer night, and it pulled me straight into something I still can't explain. It was late August, the kind of heat that sticks to your skin even after dark. I was working the closing shift at the pizza place, wiping down counters when the order came in. Extra large pepperoni, thin crust, no special instructions. Address was way out on rural Route 12, about 20 minutes from town. I grabbed the bag, hopped in my old Civic, and headed out. Didn't think twice about it. That's how these things start, right? Just another run. The AC in my car barely worked, so I had the windows down. Crickets were going crazy out there, this constant chirp that filled the air like static on a bad radio. I remember thinking it was louder than usual, almost like they were trying to warn me or something. But nah, I shook it off. Bills don't pay themselves, and tips on late deliveries can be decent. If the customer's not too drunk, the drive was quiet at first. Town lights faded quick, and soon it was just my headlights cutting through the dark. Cornfields on both sides, tall and whispering in the breeze. I passed a couple farms, lights off in the houses. No cars on the road. My phone GPS said turn left onto a gravel lane, so I did. Bumped along for maybe a mile, dust kicking up behind me. The house came into view. Big old Victorian thing, set back from the road with a long driveway. Porch light was on, flickering a bit like the bulb was loose. I pulled up, killed the engine, and grabbed the pizza box. Stepped out into that humid air, crickets still chirping away. Smelled like fresh, cut grass mixed with something sharper, maybe fertilizer from the fields. I walked up the driveway, shoes crunching on gravel. The house looked lived in but quiet. No cars in the drive, which was odd for a late order. But hey, maybe they parked in back. Knocked on the door, no answer. Knocked again louder. Still nothing. I checked my phone, right address, called the number from the order. It rang a few times, then voicemail. Generic message, no name. Alright, maybe they're in the shower or something. I waited a minute, then tried the door knob. Unlocked. Pushed it open a crack. Pizza delivery. I called out. Silence. That cricket chirp seemed to get louder outside, like it was echoing off the house. Pushed the door wider. Hallway light was on, dim. Saw a table just inside with a $20 bill sitting there, exact change plus tip. Okay, contactless drop off, I guess. Set the box down, pocketed the cash, and turned to leave. That's when I heard it, the first rustle. Not crickets. Something in the bushes by the porch. Froze for a second. Could be a raccoon, right? Summer nights, animals everywhere, but it didn't sound right. Too deliberate. Back in the car, I started the engine. Headlights swept the yard as I backed up. Caught a glint. Something metallic in the trees across the road. Binoculars, not probably my imagination. Drove slow down the gravel, windows still down. Crickets going nuts. Then, halfway back to the main road, my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Thanks for the pie. Stay safe out there. Weird, but customers say stuff like that sometimes. Ignored it, turned onto the pavement. A mile down, I saw headlights in my rear view. Far back, but following. Turned up the radio to drown out the nerves. Static at first, then some late night talk show. The car behind sped up, then slowed, matching my pace. Okay, maybe coincidence. I took a side road to test. Dirt path through more fields. They followed. Heart started pounding. Pulled over, pretended to check my phone. The car passed slow. A dark set-in, windows tinted. Couldn't see inside. They kept going, turned off further up. Shook it off, got back on the main road. But now I was jumpy. Every shadow in the fields looked like a person crouching. Crickets chirped on relentless. Made it back to the pizza place around 12:30. Shop was dark, everyone gone. Locked up my car, headed home to my apartment in town. Crashed hard that night, fan blowing hot air around the room. Next morning woke up sweaty. Checked the news on my phone while making coffee. Local headline, suspicious activity reported at rural residence. Didn't click it, too busy. Work that day was normal, deliveries in town. But that evening another late order. Same address, extra large pepperoni again. Hesitated, but the manager said take it or lose the shift. Fine. Grabbed the box, headed out. Windows down, crickets starting up as dusk hit. Drive felt longer this time. Gravel lane seemed narrower. Pulled up to the house. Porch light flickering, same as before. No cars again. Knock, no answer. Door unlocked. Table inside with cash. Set the pizza down, but this time I lingered. Something felt off. Glanced around the hallway. Pictures on the wall, family stuff, but dusty. Like no one had been there in weeks. Heard that rustle again outside. Stepped back onto the porch, scanned the yard. There, in the tree line, a shape. Human shape crouched low. Watching, I backed toward my car, keys out. "Hey," I called, trying to sound casual, no response. Got in, locked doors, started up. Headlights on. Caught two figures now slipping behind trees. Drove fast down the driveway, gravel flying. On the main road, checked mirrors, no one following. But then, up ahead, another car parked on the shoulder. Dark van, no lights. As I passed, saw movement inside. Binoculars for sure this time, pointed back at the house. What the hell? Pulled over a mile away, heart racing. Called the cops anonymously from a burner app on my phone. Suspicious people around a house on rural Route 12. Dispatcher asked for details. Gave what I could, hung up. Drove home, locked my door, checked windows. That cricket sound. I could hear it even in town, faint through the walls, or maybe it was in my head. Slept fitful dreams of shadows watching. Couple days passed. No more orders from there. Thought it was over. Then Friday night, peak hours. Order comes in, same address, same pizza. Manager's like, "You know the route." I said sure, but inside I was churning. Grabbed the box, drove out. Summer heat still hanging, air thick with bugs hitting the windshield. Pulled up, porch light on, flickering. But this time, a car in the drive, an old pickup. Okay, someone's home. Knocked. Door opened quick. Guy in his 40s, beard, tired eyes. "Pizza," he said. I nodded, handed it over. He paid cash, no tip. "You been here before?" he asked, voice low. I said, "Yeah, couple times." He glanced past me at the yard. "See anything weird?" I shrugged, played dumb. "Nah." He nodded, closed the door. Back to my car. Started it up. Then, flash of lights from the trees. Not headlights, like signals. Morse code or something, two quick, one long from the opposite side, another flash. Responding, holy crap. Two groups, watching the house. One in the trees across the road, one in the fields behind. Drove slow, watching mirrors. Sedan from before tailing again. I sped up. They matched. Took a turn sharp, onto a farm access road. They followed, bumped over ruts, dust clouding. Phone buzzed, same unknown number. Don't come back. Adrenaline hit. Slammed the gas, fishtailed back to pavement. Lost them. No, headlights reappeared. Called cops again. Being followed from that house. Dispatcher said units en route. Hung up, drove erratic. Ended up in a church parking lot, lights on. Waited. No one showed. Drove home shaking. Couldn't sleep. Researched the address online. Old news articles. House belonged to a family tied to some local scandal. Missing person case years back, rumors of shady dealings. Drugs, cult stuff, nothing solid. Forums mentioned watchers in the area, but conspiracy junk. Next night, order again, I refused. Manager fired me on the spot. Fine, whatever. But curiosity gnawed. Drove out myself, parked far off, watched. Crickets loud as ever. Saw the sedan pull up near the house, park hidden. Then the van on the other side, flashes between them. Signals. Slipped closer on foot through the corn. Heart thumping. Got near the trees. Heard whispers. He's inside. Wait for the signal. Accents normal, but tense. Cops' private eyes? Then from the other side, different voices. The ritual can't be interrupted. Take him if he interferes. Ritual. What? Froze. A delivery car, not mine. Pulled up. Some other driver knocked. Door opened. Guy from before took the pizza. Driver left. Then, movement. Figures from the trees rushed the house. Shouts! Hands up! Wait, cops. But the other group charged from the fields. Gunshots. Pops in the night. Driver's car swerved, caught in it. I ran back to my car, drove off fast. Sirens wailed distant. I peeled out, gravel spitting. In mirrors, chaos at the house, lights flashing, people running. A figure broke from the melee, ran toward the road. Toward me. Slammed the brakes as someone jumped in front. The house guy beard wild. Drive. He yelled. Door open, he climbed in. Blood on his shirt. Go. I floored it. What the hell? He panted. They're after me. Both's feds. Think I'm dealing. Others, old group I left. Crazy stuff. Cult. He nodded vague. Don't ask. Shots behind us. Sedan pursuing, swerved roads, lost them in fields. Dropped him at a gas station. Thanks, he said. Handed me a crumpled note. Burn this if they find you. Drove home, hand slick on wheel. Cops called next day. Questioned me, saw my prior calls. Said the house was a stakeout gone wrong. Feds watching for drugs, but a vigilante group. Ex-members of some fringe church. Thought it was a hideout for their leader. Shootout when both moved in. Delivery driver okay, just grazed. House guy arrested, but escaped later. News vague. Later, I got a job at a warehouse. Night's quiet now, But sometimes on hot evenings I hear those crickets. Chirp, chirp. Like they're counting down. Check that note later. Address of another house, similar setup. Burned it, but wonder. Who's watching who? Last week, walking home, saw a porch light flickering on my block, just like that one. Stopped cold. Cricket started up, and in the shadows across the street, a glint. Binoculars. Or my mind. I quickened my pace, didn't look back. But that light, it keeps flickering. Every night. My name is Stone. I was just trying to get home after a long shift that summer. You know how it is. It's August. The air's thick and warm even at night, and I'd been on my feet for 12 hours at the warehouse. My truck's AC was barely working, so I had the windows cracked, letting in that mix of cut grass and distant barbecue smoke. I punched in my address on the GPS like always, the one on my phone clipped to the dash. It said 20 minutes, straight shot on the highway, but then about 5 minutes in it beeped, that little chime it makes for a reroute. I glanced down. Avoiding traffic, it said. Except there was no traffic. The road was empty. I figured it was one of those glitches, you know. Apps update all the time. Maybe it thought there was construction or something. So I followed it off the exit, onto this county road I didn't recognize. Cornfields on both sides, tall and swaying a bit in the breeze. The moon was full, lighting everything up pale blue. My headlights cut through it, picking out the gravel shoulder. I turned up the radio, some old country station, to keep awake. The GPS chimed again, that same soft ding, directing me left onto a narrower lane, Elmwood Drive. It announced in that calm voice. I don't remember an Elmwood Drive around there, but I trusted it. I've used that app for years, never steered me wrong before. The road got bumpier, potholes here and there. I slowed down, gripping the wheel tighter. My hands were sweaty from the heat. The GPS screen flickered once like a bad signal, but then it steadied. Turn right in 500 feet. It said I did. Onto what looked like an old farm access road. No street signs, just dirt and weeds pushing up through the cracks. I checked my phone, signal was fine, 3 bars. But the map showed me on Elmwood, heading toward my house, even though this didn't look right. I muttered to myself, come on, get it together. Pulled over for a second, restarted the app. It came back the same, continue straight. That chime again, ding, like it was insisting. I kept going. The fields gave way to woods, trees closing in overhead. It was quieter now, no more radio static, just crickets and the hum of my tires. I glanced at the clock, 11:45 p.m. Should have been home by now, cracking a beer on the porch. Instead, I'm out here following this thing deeper. Another chime. Destination on the left. I looked up. There was a house set back from the road, old Victorian style with a porch light on. The address glowed on my screen, 142 Elmwood Drive. But my home's nowhere near here. Mine's 528 Oak Street, in town. I double-checked the input. Yeah, I typed it right. Heart started beating a little faster. What the hell? I pulled up to the curb. Well, the grass edge, since there was no real curb, killed the engine. The house looked lived, in curtains in the windows, a bike leaning against the railing. But something felt off. No cars in the driveway, and the yard was overgrown, like nobody mowed it in weeks. I sat there, staring at the screen and said, "You've arrived." Chime ding. I tapped refresh. Same thing. Tried switching to another app, but my phone glitched, screen froze, then rebooted on its own. When it came back, the GPS was open again, pointing right here. Okay, I thought maybe it's a mapping error. Happens sometimes, right? Old data or whatever. I could just drive back the way I came. But the road behind me looked darker now, trees thicker. I don't know why, but I felt this pull to check it out, like if I left without knowing, it bugged me all night. So I got out, locked the truck. The air was warmer here, sticky, with that faint smell of damp wood. Crickets stopped when I slammed the door, walked up the path, gravel crunching under my boots. The porch light buzzed faintly, like an old bulb about to go. Knocked on the door, lightly at first. Nothing. Knocked again, louder. Heard footsteps inside, slow shuffling. My stomach tightened. Door creaked open, and there was this old guy, maybe 70s, in a robe. He looked at me, squinting. "Can I help you?" he said, voice raspy like he'd just woken up. I explained about the GPS, how it led me here instead of home. Showed him my phone. He leaned in, adjusted his glasses. "Huh, 142 Elmwood. That's us." "All right." I asked if he knew why it'd reroute me. He shrugged. "Tech these days, glitches happen." But then he added, "You look tired. Come in for a coffee. Roads are tricky at night." I hesitated. It was late, but he seemed harmless. And honestly, I needed directions. My phone wasn't helping. Stepped inside. The house smelled like old books and faint mildew. Living room with a couch, TV off, clock ticking on the wall. That clock, it had this soft tick-tock, steady. He gestured to sit, went to the kitchen. I pulled up maps again on my phone, still showed me at home chime. Ding. Recalculating. But it looped back to here. He came back with 2 mugs, steam rising. Black, okay? I nodded, took a sip. Bitter but hot, we talked a bit. His name was Harold. Lived here alone since his wife passed. Asked about my job, the warehouse. Normal stuff. But as we chatted, I noticed details. The photos on the mantel faded. People in old clothes, like from the 50s. One looked like a younger him, but the house in the background was different, newer. I glanced outside. The woods seemed closer now, branches almost touching the window. Tick-tock from the clock. It was 12:15 already. Time flying. My phone chimed again. Ding. Screen lit up. Turn around when possible. I showed Harold. He chuckled. Sounds like it's confused. But his laugh didn't reach his eyes. I asked for the best way back to the highway. He described a route. Left at the end of the road, straight for 2 miles. Simple, I thanked him, stood to go. As I did, I bumped the table. Coffee sloshed. He mopped it up quick, but I saw under the mug a coaster with an address stamped 142 Elmwood Drive. Same as mine, but wait, no, mine's Oak Street. Heart skipped, maybe coincidence. Outside, the air felt heavier. Truck started fine. Drove off following his directions, but the GPS chimed. Ding. We're out. Led me right back around, looping to the house. I ignored it, kept straight. Road narrowed, pavement cracked. Trees overhead like a tunnel. No stars visible now. Pulled over again, frustration building. Hands shook a little as I tried calling a friend. No signal. Phone showed full bars earlier. Tick-tock echoed in my head even though I was outside. Drove on, sweat beading on my forehead despite the night cooling. Finally saw lights ahead. Thought it was the highway. But no, it was the same house, 142 Elmwood. Porch light buzzing. How? I'd gone straight. No turns. Checked the odometer, only 2 miles. Looped somehow. Got out, marched up, knocked hard. Harold opened, same robe. Back so soon. He said, not surprised. I demanded to know what was going on. He invited me in again. This time, the living room felt smaller. Clock ticking louder. Tick-tock. I paced, explaining the loop. He nodded slowly. Happens sometimes. Maps get it wrong. Sat down, head in hands. Phone chimed. Ding. You've arrived at home. But this wasn't home. Asked Harold if I could use his landline. He pointed to an old rotary phone on the wall. Dialed my own number. Busy signal. Dialed work. Same. He watched me, sipping his coffee. Maybe stay till morning. Road's clear up then. No way. I thanked him, left again. This time I marked the road with a rock. Scratched an X on the pavement. Drove opposite direction. Woods thickened. Branches scraped the truck. No other houses, no lights. Phone died suddenly. Battery was at 80%. Plugged it in. Nothing. Drove blind now, guessing. Sweat dripped into my eyes. Smelled that mildew again like it followed me. Finally a clearing. The house again. Rock with my ex right there. Impossible. Heart pounding now. Knocked. Harold opened. 3rd time's the charm, he said, smiling faintly. Inside once more. Room felt colder. Clock at 1:30 a.m. Tick-tock relentless. I confronted him. What's happening? This road loops back here. He sighed, sat down. It's the address. Sometimes it pulls people in. Glitch in the system, maybe. What system? He waved it off. Showed me a map on his wall. Old paper one, Elmwood Drive circled in red. See, it's here. But on new maps. Gone. I traced it. Led nowhere. Phone chimed in my pocket. Plugged in, it revived. Ding. Home sweet home. Panic rising. I asked about his wife. He pointed to a photo. Woman smiling, but her eyes something off, like looking past the camera. Tick-tock. I noticed the clock hands moving backwards slowly. No, must be my eyes. Harold offered more coffee. I declined, paced to the window. My truck outside, but the woods, branches now against the glass, like reach, you should go, he said suddenly, before it sticks. What sticks? He didn't answer. Just stared at the clock. Tick-tock. I grabbed my keys, bolted out. Truck wouldn't start. Battery dead, but I just driven. Popped the hood. Wires looked fine. Harold came out, flashlight in hand. Let me see. He tinkered, then it roared to life. There. I thanked him, peeled out, ignored the GPS chime. Ding. Drove fast, branches whipping. Road straightened suddenly. Saw highway lights ahead. Hit the pavement, sped home. Arrived at my place around 3 a.m. Door unlocked. Wait, I always lock it. Inside everything normal. Plugged in phone. Maps showed a straight route, no Elmwood. Searched online, no 142 Elmwood Drive exists. Deleted the app, installed a new one. Slept fitfully. Next day, drove the highway route, no detours. But at work, a coworker mentioned a glitch in his GPS last night. Rerouted him oddly, but he ignored it. Laughed it off. I didn't. That evening, checked my mail. Bill addressed to 142 Elmwood. Wrong address, but it had my name. Tossed it. Night came hot again, lay in bed hearing crickets. Then faint tick-tock from where clock on my nightstand, but mine's digital. Looked closer, analog now, hands ticking backward. Tried to smash it. Wouldn't break. Drove out to where I thought the road was nothing but fields, no house. Back home, clock still there. Tick-tock sometimes. Late at night, my phone chimes. Ding, screen lights up, you turn around when possible. I don't drive after dark anymore. But that address, it shows up. On packages, wrong labels. And the smell, faint mildew in the corners, I tell myself it's nothing. Glitch, misremembered. But that clock, it keeps ticking. Backward. Toward what? I don't know. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I see that porch light buzzing, waiting for the next rear out. My name is Damari. I always figured the pizza app's glitchy map was just annoying, until it led me straight into a setup that made me the bait. Yeah, that night last summer, it wasn't the heat that got to me. It was realizing too late that someone had ordered me like a test dummy. Look, my life's nothing special. I'm just a guy in his late 20s, scraping by with gig work. Delivering pizzas, rides, whatever pops up on the apps. That summer was brutal. Heat waves every week. AC in my old Honda barely working. I'd start my shift around 6, right after the sun dipped a bit, and go till 2 or 3 in the morning. Tips were okay if you hustled, but one bad rating and you're toast. Can't afford that with rent due and my sister's kid needing school stuff I help with sometimes. The job's all about pressure, you know. You say yes to every ping because no means less money, worse algorithm spot. That night, July whatever, it was a Thursday. I was already beat from back deliveries. Sweat sticking my shirt to the seat, radio on low playing some old rock station. My phone buzzed with the order 2 larges pepperoni and veggie to 147 Oak Ridge Lane. Paid online, no contact delivery. Easy money, I thought, but the address rang a bell. Oak Ridge was that old subdivision on the edge of town, half abandoned after the factory closed years back. I grabbed the pizzas from the shop, smell of cheese and dough filling the car, the usual. Bob, the manager, handed them over with his standard grunt. Hot run, kid. Don't dawdle. I nodded, checked the app. ETA 20 minutes. Fine, but as I drove out, the GPS kept rerouting. First to the main highway, then off onto a side road lined with overgrown lots. Streetlights were spotty out there, just pools of yellow every block or so. Crickets loud through the cracked window, that sticky summer air pressing in. Pulled up to what should be 147. House looked wrong right away. Boarded windows, weeds choking the driveway, no lights on, no car out front. I double-checked the app. Yeah, 147 Oak Ridge Lane. But I'd delivered around here before, and this block was empty. Last time, maybe a year ago, it was all for sale signs and chained gates. Figured maybe someone squatted or flipped it quick. Jig rules deliver or get dinged. So I grabbed the boxes, stepped out. Air was thick, like breathing through a wet cloth. Mosquitoes buzzing around my arms. Walked up the cracked path. Front door had this faded red paint, peeling in strips. Knocked twice, hollow sound like nobody home. App said leave at door, so I set the pizzas down, snapped a photo. But as I turned back to the car, my phone dinged. Message from the customer. Wrong spot. Come around back. Gates open. What? No contact, but now this. I hesitated, hand on the car door. Ratings matter. Ignore and they complain you're out shifts. Sweat trickled down my back. Okay, fine. Grabbed the boxes again, headed to the side. Fence was chain link rusted. Gate creaked when I pushed it. That sound like a low whine stuck with me. Backyard was a mess tall grass, old swing set tilted sideways, plastic chairs scattered. No lights back here either, just the glow from my phone flashlight. Called out, "Delivery!" Voice echoed a bit, nothing. Then another ding, inside the shed, doors unlocked. Shed. There it was at the far end. A small wooden thing, paint flaking, padlock hanging open. Heart picked up a little. This felt off. But pressure. Right? Job says complete the delivery. I walked over, grass brushing my jeans, that whine from the gate still in my ears somehow. Pushed the shed door. Creaked louder than the gate. Inside, pitch black. Shown my light tools on shelves, rusty saws, hammers. Empty space in the middle. Set the pizzas down on a workbench. Snapped another photo. Turned to leave. That's when the door swung shut behind me. Not wind, too still out. I pushed, locked. What the hell? Yanked harder, shoulder into it. Nothing. Phone out. No signal bars. How? I had full before. Pounded on the door. Hey! Open up! Silence. Just crickets outside, faint. Okay, calm down. Maybe a prank. Kids messing around. But this neighborhood, empty. I swept the light around the shed again. Cobwebs in corners, dust thick on everything. Smell like old oil and wood rot. Tools looked unused for years, except one shelf had fresh scratches, like something dragged off recently. Heart thumping now, tried the door again. Solid. Sat on the floor, back against the wall. Phone still no signal, battery at 60%, waited, 10 minutes? Felt longer, sweat pooling under my arms. Then a noise, footsteps. Outside crunching grass. Froze, light off quick. Listened. Yeah, steps circling the shed. Slow, deliberate. Not rushing, like checking something. Called out, "This isn't funny! Let me out!" Steps stopped. Then a voice muffled through the wood. "Just stay put. Won't be long." Male, flat tone. No accent I could place. "What? Who is this?" No answer. Steps moved away, panic rising. Banged on the door harder. Shoulder sore now. Looked for a way out. Small window high up barred. Roof, too low, tin maybe. Tools. Grabbed a hammer. Smashed at the lock. Sparks, but it held, arm aching. Stopped to breathe. Air getting stuffier, that rot smell stronger. Another ding. Wait, phone had signal again. Message, test 1 complete. Proceed to phase 2. From the app. No unknown number. What test? Heart racing. Then the door clicked, unlocked. Pushed, it opened. Night air rushed in. Grabbed my stuff, bolted out. Yard empty. No one. Gate still open, that creak as I shoved through. Ran to the car, keys in pocket, thank God. Jumped in, locked doors. Engine roared. Sped off, tires kicking gravel. Glanced back, house dark, shed door swinging a bit. Drove straight home, windows up despite the heat. Hands shaking on the wheel. Radio static now, station cut out. Or imagination. Got to my apartment, parked crooked. Inside, bolted the door. Checked phone. Order marked delivered, 5-star tip added, $50. But that message, test 1 complete. Couldn't sleep. Paced the kitchen, guzzling water, mind racing. Called the pizza shop, closed. App support, chatbot useless. Searched the address online, yeah, vacant for 2 years. Foreclosed, no listings. Next day shift again. Hesitated but needed the money. First few deliveries normal. But that creak, kept hearing it in my head like the gate. Evening hit, another order pings. 147 Oak Ridge Lane. Same pizzas. Froze, declined it. First time ever. App warned repeated declines effect rating. Ignored. Took a different one downtown. But on the way, phone dings. Phase 2 initiated. Unknown. Then my GPS glitches reroutes me toward Oak Ridge. Forced a U-turn, manual directions. Sweat again, even with AC blasting weak. Delivered the downtown one fine. But back in the car, another ding. Non-compliance noted. Adjust. What the hell? Block the number, new one pops up. Return to site for extraction. Drove home fast. That night, couldn't shake it. Lay in bed, fan wearing, summer heat pressing. Heard a creak outside, apartment door. No, probably neighbor. But checked anyway, peaceful empty. Work next shift cautious. But orders kept pushing me there. App algorithm. Or hacked. Declined 3 in a row. Rating dipped. Boss texted shape up or out. Then the big one midnight, ordered a 149 Oak Ridge next door. Same setup. But tip huge, $100. Pressure mounting, rent late. Bit my lip. Accepted. Drove out, heart pounding, same dark roads, crickets louder. Pulled up, 149 similar, abandoned weeds. But light on inside, faint glow. Grabbed pizzas, approach door cracked open. Delivery? I muttered. Pushed in empty living room. Dust sheets on furniture. Smell like fresh paint mixed with rot. Kitchen light on. Set boxes on counter, turned, door shut behind. Locked, yanked, no. But footsteps upstairs, froze. Hammer from before. No, left it. Grabbed a knife from the block, dull but something. Creak on stairs. That sound again. Voice good. Phase 2. Same guy. Bolted for the back door. Open. Ran into yard over fence. Cut my hand on wire, blood warm, sticky. Car, go. Sped away, knife dropped on seat. Phone dings, data collected. Phase 3 pending. Home, bandage hand. Called police anonymous. Where deliveries, possible squatters. They said they check, but next day nothing in news. Work? Rating tanked. Took a break. Couldn't afford it. Few days later, email from Appy, account review, unusual activity, attached log, my deliveries mapped, circling Oak Ridge. Then a link, click stupidly. Video grainy from shed, me inside hammering door. Timestamped, freaked. Deleted, but phone dings, subject responsive. Proceed, realized then, bait me probing those houses. For what? Burglars testing alarms. Cops using gigs for surveillance. Or worse, some experiment on workers seeing how far we'd go for a tip. Pressure to comply like rats in a maze. Avoided the app. Got a warehouse job, boring, steady. But summer dragged. Hot nights I'd hear that creak, gate, stairs, whatever, ignored. Then month later, another delivery guy vanishes. Local news last seen near Oak Ridge. Pizza boxes found in a shed. Couldn't stay quiet. Went back one afternoon. Daylight safer. Drove to 147, house still empty. Shed door jar pushed in, tools gone clean. But on the workbench, my photo from the app, printed. Me setting down pizzas, back, test subject finding 4, compliant. Dropped it, ran. Car wouldn't start, battery, waited, sweating. Finally turned over. That night, storm hit, rare summer rain, lay awake, thunder rumbling. Phone off, but somehow a ding, vibration. Plugged in charger, messagey, phase 3 extraction complete. No more quit gigs. Moved in with sister temporarily. But that photo lingering, keep it in a drawer, crease now. Things quieted, fall came cooler. Warehouse pays okay, but I check news. Another driver missing last week, same area. Wonder if it's over for me, or if I'm still bait waiting. Doubt creeps in quiet moments, like now telling this hands dry, clock ticking, ordinary stuff. But that creak, hear it sometimes at night, gate opening maybe, or just wind. And the last thing, the pizza box in my fridge. Leftover from a normal delivery. But inside, sometimes I swear the cheese shifts like eyes watching. Nah, probably not, just cheese. But I don't eat it. Sits there cold. I always figured those old lace curtains in suburban houses were just for show, until one twitched on a house I knew was empty, and it made me freeze right there on the porch. Yeah, that was the start of it. I'm Jake, by the way. I drive for one of those food delivery apps. You know, the ones where you pick up burgers or pizza and drop them off late at night. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, especially in summer when the days are long and hot, and people order more because they're too lazy to cook. I live in a mid-sized town in the Midwest. Nothing special. Strip malls, quiet neighborhoods, the kind where everyone mows their lawn on Saturdays. I've been doing this gig for about 2 years now, mostly night shifts because the tips are better after dark. My car's an old Honda Civic, reliable but noisy, with that faint smell of old fries baked into the seats from all the deliveries. I keep a flashlight in the glove box, and my phone's always mounted on the dash for GPS. Normal stuff, no big deal. Anyway, my routine's pretty set. I start around 7 p.m. when the sun's dipping low, that golden hour where everything looks peaceful. Grab orders from places like the local diner or the Chinese takeout spot downtown. Drive through familiar streets, Maple, Oak Elm, dropping off bags at doors, ringing bells, sometimes chatting if the customer comes out. Summers here are humid, the air thick with the buzz of cicadas and that earthy smell after a quick rain. I like it, actually. Gets me out of my apartment, which is just a one-bedroom above a laundromat. No family around, my folks are back in Ohio, and I moved here for a job that fell through. So deliveries keep me busy, keep my mind off things. Stakes aren't high or anything. Worst case, a cold order means a bad review. But I need the money for rent and my student loans. Can't afford to slack. And yeah, there's this one sound that always pops up on quiet nights. The faint creak of my car's suspension when I hit a pothole. It's like a little groan, reminds me the old girl's hanging in there. That night in late June, it was pushing 11 p.m., and I had this delivery to a house on Elm Street. Address was 1427, a 2-story place with white siding and a porch light that buzzed like a dying fly. The order was simple: 2 large pizzas, extra cheese. App said the customer wanted contactless drop-off, so I parked at the curb, grabbed the boxes, and walked up the driveway. The street was dead quiet. No cars, no dogs barking. Just the humidity pressing down, making my shirt stick to my back. I set the pizzas on the welcome mat, snapped a photo for proof, and turned to leave. That's when I saw it, the curtain in the front window. Thin, white, like the kind my grandma had, moved. Just a twitch, really. Not a full sway, but enough to catch the edge of the porch light. I stopped, stared. The house looked empty, no lights on inside, no TV glow. I figured maybe a draft or the AC kicking on. Shook it off, got back in my car. But as I drove away, I glanced in the rear view. The curtain was still. No big thing, right? Except that creak from my suspension hit a pothole just then, and it sounded louder, like the night was listening. A couple nights later, it happened again. Different house, same neighborhood. This time on Oak Avenue around midnight. Delivery was Thai food, pad see-ew and spring rolls. Pulled up, same drill, drop-off, photo. As I'm walking back, a light in an upstairs window blinks once. Not a flicker like a bulb going bad, but deliberate, like someone flipped the switch quick. I paused, squinted. House was dark otherwise, and the app note said the family was out of town but had ordered for a house visitor or something. No cars in the drive. I told myself it was nothing, maybe a timer. But that curtain thing from before stuck in my head. Started noticing patterns. On my next run, another twitch, this time at a bungalow on Maple. Curtain in the side window, beige fabric. Moves just as I ring the bell. Customer comes out, grabs the bag, says thanks. Normal guy mid-30s, but I catch him glancing at the window like he heard something. I don't ask. Drive off. Suspension creaks over a bump. That sound starts feeling like a warning now. Night's blurred after that. Summer heat ramped up, air conditioners humming everywhere. But I'd sweat anyway. I'd scan windows as I approached houses. Most deliveries were fine, people answer, tip okay. But every few shifts there'd be a sign. A curtain edge lifting slightly, like a finger pulling it back. Or a porch light dimming for a second when I step up, always at houses that felt empty. I'd check the app notes, leave at door, owners away, or vacation mode. Started wondering if it was the same person moving around. Nah, that was crazy. But paranoia creeps in when you're alone in the car at 1 a.m., radio off, just the GPS voice telling you to turn left. I kept a log in my notes app, dumb as it sounds. Date, time, address, what I saw, elm curtain twitch. Oak light blink, maple another twitch, plus a faint shadow behind the glass that vanished when I looked straight. It got worse in July. Heat waves hit, streets empty earlier. I'd do more deliveries to beat the quotas. One night, around 10:30, back to Elm, the same house, but close 1435 burritos this time. Drop off, and as I turn, the curtain in 1427, the original one, twitches again. I know it's that house because of the red mailbox. Stopped dead, heart picking up. No delivery there tonight. Walked closer, pretended to check my phone, peered at the window. Nothing. But then, from inside, a soft thump, like a footstep on carpet, froze. Backed away slow, got in the car. Suspension creaked as I pulled out, and in the mirror, I swear the curtain moved once more. Told myself it was the wind, but windows were shut tight against the heat. Next shift, I avoided Elm if I could, but the app assigns routes. Ended up on Oak again. Light blinks in a different window this time, downstairs. And now, a new thing as I leave, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Thanks for the delivery. But it wasn't from the customer, their tip came through the app. Deleted it, figured spam. But it happened again 2 nights later. Same message, after a curtain twitch at a new address on Pine Lane. Started parking farther away, watching houses longer before approaching. Noticed more details. The way streetlights reflected off windows, making it hard to see in. The smell of cut grass lingering late, mixed with something metallic, like blood from a fresh mosquito bite on my arm. Hands would get clammy on the steering wheel, that creak from the suspension. It started sounding like a whisper echoing in my head. One evening, I mentioned it casual, like to a coworker at the pickup spot. Dave, older guy, been driving longer. You seeing stuff too, like curtains moving? He laughed, said nah, probably just tired eyes from the road. But his laugh was off-forced. Made me wonder. Kept it to myself after that. Nights dragged. I'd hear cicadas louder, like they were covering other sounds. Delivered to a house where the curtain didn't twitch. But the door creaked open an inch after I left the bag. No one there. Wind, maybe. But I ran back to the car that time, suspension groaning as I sped off. Then came the turning point, mid-July, steamy night past midnight. App pings a delivery back to 1427 Elm, the original house. Same order, 2 large pizzas. Hesitated, but quotas are quotas. Drove slow, parked across the street, watched the house 5 minutes. No lights, no movement. Grabbed the boxes, approached quiet. Set them down, snapped photo. Turned, and the curtain twitched hard, like pulled aside quick then dropped. Heart slammed, I backed up, but instead of leaving I knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Hello, delivery here. Nothing. But then from inside that thump again. Footstep. I show my flashlight through the mail slot, stupid, I know. Saw a hallway empty, dust motes floating, no one. Backed away, but as I hit the driveway, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Yeah. Thanks for coming back. Froze, looked up, the curtain was parted now, just a sleever, a shape. Too dark. Bolted to the car, peeled out. Suspension creaked like it was breaking. Couldn't shake it. Next day off shift, I drove by during daylight. House looked normal, lawn mowed, mail in the box. Checked online public records. Owner's name some LLC, rental property. Vacant listing, empty. But who'd ordered the food? App support said the payment went through, card valid. No help. That night, I took a shift anyway. Needed the cash. But now every house felt watched. Curtains everywhere seemed to breathe. Climax hit on a Friday in August. Heat broke with a storm, rain pounding. Delivery to a new street, but close to Elm. Wings and fries, pulled up, wipers slapping. Dropped the bag under the awning. As I turn, lightning flashes, and in the window across the street a curtain twitches, light inside blinks. Same signs, but then footsteps behind me, splashing in puddles. Spun around. A figure at the end of the drive, hood up, face shadowed. "Hey," I yelled. They stopped, then walked closer. Heart racing. "You the delivery guy." Voice muffled male.
Yeah.
"You order," he nodded, but the app said contactless. Grabbed the bag, but as he did, his sleeve slipped. Tattoo on his wrist, some symbol I couldn't make out. Then he glanced at the twitching curtain house. "Careful out here. Some places watch more than others." Turned and walked inside his house. I stood in the rain, soaked, looked back. The curtain dropped, figure gone. But in my car, phone buzzed. "Thanks for the delivery. See you soon." Unknown number. Deleted it, drove home shaking. Suspension creaked the whole way like laughter. After that, I cut back shifts. Stuck to daytime when I could. Told myself it was pranks, maybe kids or a stalker using the app. Reported the text to the police. They said without threats, nothing to do. Checked my log, over a dozen incidents. All empty houses, all summer nights. No proof. Paranoia eased a bit as fall came, cooler air. But I still scan windows. That creak in my car, had it fixed, but sometimes I hear it anyway. Echo in my head. Last week, though, I did one-night delivery, routine stuff. Dropped off, no twitch. But as I left in my rear view, a single light blinked in a dark window down the block. And on the seat next to me, an old receipt fluttered like from when that wasn't there. It had the address 1427 Elm. Crumpled it, threw it out. But it lingers, you know. That tiny movement, proving nothing, but changing everything. My name is Vance. I always figured the midnight shift was the easiest gig. Plenty of quiet, no bosses breathing down your neck. Just me and the hum of the fans in that big old warehouse. Until those orders started printing out right on the dot, matching times I'd never paid attention to before. It was summer, you know, those long, sticky nights where the air hangs heavy with the smell of cardboard and machine oil. Let me back up a bit. I'd been working at this distribution center for about 6 months. It's out on the edge of town, one of those places that handles overflow for online retailers. Boxes of clothes, gadgets, whatever people click on late at night. The day crew handles the bulk, but nights are for the stragglers, the last-minute orders that trickle in. I needed the money bad. Rent was piling up after my last job folded, and this paid okay with the shift differential. Plus, I liked being alone. No small talk, just plug in my earbuds, scan barcodes, pack boxes, tape them shut. The warehouse is huge, rows of metal shelves stretching back into the dark, lit by those yellow sodium lights that buzz faintly overhead. On hot nights, we'd crack the loading dock doors to let in a breeze, but it mostly brought in muffs and that earthy smell from the fields outside. My routine was simple. Clock in at 11 p.m. Check the order queue on the computer terminal by the packing station. It's an old setup, green screen, clunky keyboard. Orders come through a dot matrix printer that wears and spits out labels with a sharp zip sound. I'd grab a cart, wheel down the aisles, pick the items, scan them, box them up, slap on the label, stack for shipping. By 7 a.m., the morning guy takes over and I'm out. Stakes were high for me. Mess up too many orders, and you're gone. But it was predictable like clockwork. Or so I thought. The first weird thing happened maybe 2 weeks into July. It was a Tuesday, I remember, because Tuesdays were slow. I just finished packing a box of kitchen gadgets around 12:15 a.m. when the printer kicked on. Zip, zip, zip. I glanced at the clock, exactly midnight plus 15. No big deal, orders come in random. But then at 1:15, another one, same at 2:15. By 30:15, I was paying attention. Each time, the printer started right as the minute hand hit the 3. I shrugged it off. Maybe some automated system on the server side. But that night, the orders were all for the same kind of stuff: candles, herbs in little packets, old books from the back shelves where we stored overstock. Nothing illegal, just odd for a bulk warehouse. Next shift, same thing. Orders at and 15 past every hour. I mentioned it to the morning guy, Dave, when he came in. Yeah, probably batch processing. He said, not looking up from his coffee. Don't overthink it. But Dave's the type who doesn't notice much. He's been there 20 years, face like worn leather, always smelling faintly of cigarettes. I let it go, but that zip sound started sticking in my head, like a motif, you know. That sharp mechanical zip echoing in the empty space. A few nights later, I was killing time during a lull, around 4 a.m., when the coffee wears off and your eyes get heavy. I poked around the back office, this dusty room with file cabinets and old manuals. Under a stack of yellowed invoices, I found this beat-up leather book. No title on the cover, just frayed edges. Inside, it was like a calendar, but weird. Pages marked with moon phases. Solstices, stuff like Lammas and Samhain. Dates circled in faded ink, times noted every hour on the quarter. I flipped through and my stomach tightened a bit. The current month, July, had entries for midnight alignments with orders. No, not orders, but offerings listed at 15 past. I set it down quick, hands feeling clammy on the cover. Probably some old employee's joke or hobby. But why hide it? I didn't touch it again that night. But the printer zipped at 40:15 right on cue. The order was for incense sticks in a brass bowl. I packed it, taped the box, but my fingers fumbled the label. The warehouse felt bigger then, the shadows between shelves thicker in the heat. Outside, crickets chirped steady, but inside, just that faint buzz from the lights. Over the next week, the patterns got clearer. Orders only for ritual-type items, crystals, tarot cards, dried flowers. Always at Z15. I started checking the calendar book against the timestamps on the printouts. Matched perfect. Like on July 20th, which the book called a wanting gibbous alignment. We got 5 orders in a row, each 15 minutes apart starting at midnight. I tried looking up the system logs on the terminal. Nothing unusual, just incoming batch. No sender details, which was odd. Usually there's a retailer code. I told myself it was coincidence. Maybe some Wiccan group bulk, buying on a schedule. But the drudgery of the shift started feeling off. I'd wheel my cart down aisle 7 where the esoteric stuff was stored, dusty boxes that hadn't moved in months, and I'd hear that zip from across the floor. My back would tense. One night, around 2 a.m., I swore the lights dimmed just as the printer started. Bulbs flickered like a power dip, but the AC kept humming. I paused in the aisle, box in hand, smelling that sharp ink from the labels. Hands dry from the cardboard, I wiped them on my jeans. Dave noticed me acting jumpy one morning. "You okay, kid? Look like you seen a ghost." I laughed it off, just the heat. Summer nights dragging, but inside I was piecing it together. The warehouse had been around since the 70s, built on old farmland. Rumors from old-timers about rituals. Back in the day, nothing specific, just whispers. I searched my phone during breaks, reading about occult calendars. Lunar cycles, harvest rites. July led into August Lammas, some bread festival, but older versions talked about sacrifices for the fields. The motifs built. That zip sound, now it felt like a call. I'd find myself waiting for it, clock watching. And the smells, packing those herbs left a earthy, bitter scent on my hands that wouldn't wash off easy. Then came the turning point. It was July 31st, eve of Lammas per the book. Shift started normal, but at midnight sharp, not same 15, the printer went nuts. Zip, zip, zip nonstop for a minute. Out came a stack of orders, all for the same address, the warehouse itself. Items, wheat bundles, a sickle replica, red string. My heart picked up. I stood there, labels in hand, the fan blowing hot air across my neck. Why ship to ourselves? I called the main office line, no answer, voicemail. Tried Dave's cell, he grumbled, probably a glitch. Ignore it. But I couldn't. I packed one box anyway, muscle memory. As I taped it, the lights flickered again, longer this time. The dock doors rattled like wind, but the night was still. I wheeled the box to the shipping area, stacked it. At 12:15, another order for me by name. Employee Appreciation 1 antique clock. But we didn't stock clocks. I grabbed the calendar book, flipped to August 1st. Midnight shift. The reaping begins. Scribbled note, feed the cycle or it feeds on you. Hands shaking now, I shoved it back. The zip echoed again at 1:15. I ignored it, tried to focus on regular work. But the terminal screen glitched, showing old dates, 1975, when the warehouse opened. Orders from back then, same patterns. By 3 a.m., I was sweating bad, the summer heat pressing in. The printer wouldn't stop. Zip after zip, orders piling up. I went to the loading dock for air, cracked the door. Outside, the fields stretched dark under the moon, almost full. A smell hit me, burnt herbs, like from the packages. I stepped out, phone flashlight on. In the gravel, faint chalk marks, circles and lines, weathered but there. Matched drawings in the book. Back inside, the climax hit around 4:15. The power dipped full, lights out for 10 seconds. In the dark, I heard shuffling feet, boxes shifting. I froze by the terminal, breath shallow. When lights buzzed back, the printer was spewing labels with my address on them. Personal stuff, my apartment number, items I'd bought online months ago. Like it knew me. I grabbed my keys, ready to bolt, but the dock doors wouldn't open, jammed. Panic rose, I banged on them yelling. No one around. Then, at 5:15, it stopped, printer silent, doors unjammed easy. I clocked out early, left the orders stacked. Morning came, Dave showed up. Rough night. I nodded, didn't explain. Quit a week later, found day work at a store. But that zip sound, I hear it sometimes in quiet moments like in the hum of a fridge. And last summer, on July 31st, I got a package at home. No sender. Inside a small calendar page, circled date for next Lammas. I burned it, but the ink smell lingers on my fingers. Just a plain sheet of paper, transformed into something that watches the clock. My name is Randy. I always figured my delivery app was reliable enough, until it sent me to 512 Pine Lane one humid summer night, and there was nothing there but weeds and cracked pavement. Yeah, that was the start of it. I'm just a guy trying to make extra cash driving around after my day job, picking up food orders or packages in the suburbs outside Chicago. It was late June, the kind of night where the air sticks to your skin and the bugs buzz around every streetlight. I'd been doing this gig for about a year, nothing exciting, just drop-offs to tired families or college kids. But that address, 512 Pine Lane, it popped up on my screen around 10 p.m. with a note for a sushi pickup from a chain place downtown. Simple enough. I grabbed the box, punched it into my GPS, and headed out. The route took me through quiet neighborhoods, past houses with porch lights on, kids' bikes left out on lawns. Everything normal. My shifts usually ran from 8 p.m. to midnight, especially in summer when people order more ice cream or cold drinks to beat the heat. I'd start with a coffee from the gas station, the one with the flickering neon sign that always smelled like burnt grounds. That smell. It followed me sometimes, clinging to my shirt. I lived alone in a small apartment, no family to worry about, just me and the road. Stakes were low. If I missed a delivery, I'd get a bad rating, maybe lose some tips, but I needed the money, rent was creeping up, and my car needed new tires. That night felt like any other. Radio on low, playing some old rock station, windows cracked to let in the warm breeze. I remember the distant hum of cicadas, that endless summer drone. It was comforting in a way, made the drives feel routine. The app dinged again as I turned onto Pine Lane. Delivery for 5E12, it said. I slowed down, scanning house numbers 508, a blue ranch with a swing set 1425, lights off, maybe empty. Then nothing, just a gap where 512 should be. An overgrown lot, chain link fence sagging, tall grass waving in the wind. No house, no mailbox, nothing. I checked the app. Address confirmed. I sat there idling, engine rumbling, staring at the empty space. Maybe a typo. I called the customer number listed. Straight to voicemail, generic. This is for the order at 512 Pine Lane. I left a message, no callback. After 5 minutes, I marked it undeliverable and drove off. Sushi went cold in the passenger seat. Figured it was a prank or app error. Happens sometimes, but that smell, the burnt coffee from earlier, mixed with something else now, like wet dirt after rain. Even though the sky was clear, I shook it off, grabbed another order. A couple nights later, same thing. App pings at 9:45 p.m. package from a warehouse, drop off at 512 Pine Lane. I stared at my phone, had to be a coincidence. I picked it up anyway. A small box, no labeled details, just taped shut. Drove out there again. Summer heat had eased a bit, but the air was thick, mosquitoes tapping at the windows. Pulled up to the lot. Still empty. Fence looked the same, grass a little taller maybe. I got out this time, box in hand, flashlight from my glove compartment sweeping the ground. Weeds, broken bottles, an old tire half buried. No sign anyone had been there. Called the number again, voicemail. Left another message. Hey, this address isn't here. Call back if you want it somewhere else. Nothing. I tossed the box back in the car and left. That night I couldn't sleep well. Kept thinking about that lot. Next morning, I looked it up on my phone, city records, Google Maps, 512 Pine Lane, no listing. The map showed a blank spot between 1425 and 514, like it had been erased. I told myself it was urban decay, maybe a house torn down years ago. But why the orders? I posted about it on a delivery driver's forum online, anonymous. Anyone get weird repeats to non-existent addresses? A few replies, glitches, kids messing around. One guy said, happened to me once, same spot kept coming up. Ignored it after a while. Didn't help much. Third time was mid-July, hotter than before. Air conditioner in my car struggling. App buzzed at 11 p.m. groceries, heavy bags to 512 Pine Lane. I almost declined, but the payout was double tempting. Picked them up from the store, bags rustling with cans and produce. Drove out, windows down, cicadas louder now, like they were building to something. Pulled up, lot empty as ever. But this time, I noticed footprints in the dirt, fresh ones leading into the grass. Mine from last time? No, these were smaller. I followed them a bit, bags left in the car. Flashlight caught something, a scrap of paper snagged on the fence. Picked it up, delivery slip, faded with 5112 scrawled on it. My hands felt clammy holding it. Dropped it, got back in the car quick. Marked undeliverable. Drove home fast, that wet dirt smell stronger, Mixing with the groceries' faint rot already starting, I started avoiding late shifts, but the app kept pushing notifications. High demand for 5 to 12 area, ignored them. Told a buddy at work about it. Mark another driver. He laughed. Probably squatters using a fake spot, or a drop point for something shady. Made sense but didn't sit right. I drove by during the day once, sunlight harsh on the lot. Looked harmless, kids could play there. But empty. City Hall searched no records of demolition, like it never existed. By late July it escalated. Orders came daily now, always after dark. Food packages, even flowers once, wilting in the heat. I declined most, but curiosity got me. One night I accepted a small envelope, thin, no weight. Drove out around 10:30 p.m., sky purple with dusk fading. Parked across the street this time, watched. No one came. After 20 minutes I walked over, envelope in pocket. Fence creaked as I pushed through a gap. Grass up to my knees, scratching my legs. That smell again, wet dirt, like fresh dug earth. Found a cleared spot in the middle, dirt packed down, like someone sat there often. No house foundation, just flat ground. Left the envelope there, backed out, heart pounding a little. Drove away, glancing in the rear view. Nothing next day, checked the forum again. More replies now. One from a user, Night Shift Dave, 51 Pine. Yeah, I got that too. Empty lot. Delivered once, saw a shadow move. Never again. Messaged him, he replied quick, meet at the diner on Route 5. Tomorrow night. Stakes felt higher now, maybe not just me, I agreed. That night, another order pinged. Ignored it. Lay in bed, listening to cicadas through the window, wondering if they sounded different. Met Dave at the diner, 8 p.m., summer sun still up, casting long shadows. He was older, gray hair, tired eyes, ordered coffee. Burnt smell strong here too. He leaned in. First time was last summer. Same address. Thought it was a mix-up, went back a few times, always empty. But once I heard voices, whispering like from underground. I asked if he checked. Now got out fast. App kept sending me there. Quit the gig after that. He slid a photo across. His phone, time-stamped last year, the lot at night blurry, but a shape in the grass like a door frame half buried. Dug a bit? He said. Found old mail, addressed to 512. From decades ago, we talked an hour. He warned, stop accepting, it pulls you back. Left me unsettled. Drove home, envelope from before still in my car unopened. Tore it inside, a key. Plain brass, no markings. Pocketed it. Orders kept coming. I blocked the app notifications. But text started. Anonymous, delivery pending for 512. Deleted them. One night, rain finally came, cooling the air. Wet dirt smell everywhere. Couldn't shake it. Early August. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Decided to stake out. Drove there at midnight, parked down the block. No order that night, just me. Moon bright, cicadas screaming. Sat with windows up, engine off. Watched the lot hour past. Nothing. Then around 1 a.m. headlights approached. Another car similar to mine. Driver got out, package in hand. Walked to the fence, hesitated, then pushed through. Disappeared into the grass, I waited. 10 minutes later, he came back empty-handed. Drove off fast, my phone buzzed new order for 5E12. Accepted it on impulse. Picked up a book, heavy, drove back. The lot looked different now, grass trampled more. Went in, flashlight on, found the cleared spot. Dug with my hands a little, soft earth. Hit something hard. Wood, brushed dirt away, edge of a door, buried shallow. Heart raced, tried the key from the envelope, it fit. Turned. Click. Pulled up, stairs down, into dark. Smell hit hard, wet dirt mold. I shouldn't have gone down. Steps creaked, flashlight beam shaking. Bottom was a small room, concrete walls, old furniture covered in dust. Table with papers. Delivery slips, all to 512. Dates back years, photos too, people like me drivers standing at the lot. One of Dave. Voices started then, whispers echoing. Delivery for 512 froze. Light caught a figure in the corner, shadowy, moving slow. Backed up, tripped on stairs. Scrambled out, slammed the door, buried it quick with dirt. Ran to car, hands muddy. Drove home shaking. Next night's app bombarded me, declined all. But one came at 2 a.m., urgent delivery to 512. Accept or account suspension. Stupidly I did, empty box this time. Drove out, storm brewing, thunder distant. Lot waited. Went to the spot, dug up the door again. Opened it, downstairs room, empty now, no papers, no figure. Just a mirror on the wall. Looked in my face, but older, tired. Whisper again, delivery complete. Dropped the box, ran, I quit the gig after that. Deleted the app, moved apartment, summer ended, cicadas gone. But sometimes at night, I smell that wet dirt, check my mail junk, but one envelope last week blank except inside a key. Same as before. I keep it on my table now, next to the window. And when the wind blows, I swear I hear whispers from the empty lot down the street, even though it's miles away. Delivery for 512. My name is Alfred. I always figured summer nights were the best part of my job as a delivery driver. Windows down, radio on low, just cruising empty roads under those big, sticky stars. But that one package changed everything, made me question every quiet moment after dark. It started simple like any other shift. I live in a small town, the kind where everyone knows your route if you've been doing it long enough. I'm 32, got a wife named Sarah and a kid, little Tommy, who's 5 and obsessed with trucks. We rent a house on the edge of town, nothing fancy, but it's got a backyard where crickets chirp all night in the heat. That's the sound I remember most from those days. The crickets starting up as the sun dips, like a background hum that never quits. My job's straightforward: load the van at the depot around 6 p.m., hit the rural roads till midnight or so. Pays the bills, keeps me moving. Sarah works days at the pharmacy, so I handle bedtime stories for Tommy when I get home. Life was routine, you know. Until that August night last year. It was hotter than usual, the kind of humid that sticks your shirt to your back. I'd been out for hours, dropping off boxes of who knows what: groceries, clothes, random junk from online orders. The van's AC was on the fritz, so I had the windows cracked, letting in that warm breeze mixed with the smell of cut grass from lawns along the way. Around 10 p.m., I pulled up to this old farmhouse on County Road 12. No lights on, but the address matched 478. The package was small, wrapped in plain brown paper. No return label, just delivered a resident scrawled in black marker. Felt light in my hands, maybe a pound or two. I knocked, waited, nothing. Left it on the porch like protocol says, scanned the barcode, and drove off. But as I turned the key in the ignition, something nagged at me. The paper had this faint musty smell like old attic dust. Shook it off, headed to the next stop. Back at the depot around midnight, I clocked out and grabbed my stuff. That's when I noticed it. The package was in my van's passenger seat. How? I must have tossed it there by mistake, thinking it was my lunch cooler or something. Stupid error, but it happens when you're tired. I figured I'd drop it off on my way home. The farmhouse wasn't far out of the way. Sarah texted me, "Tommy's asleep. Drive safe." I replied with a thumbs up, cranked the radio to stay awake. The crickets were loud outside, that steady chirp filling the gaps between songs. Pulled up to the farmhouse again, still dark. Picked up the package, and this time it felt warmer, like it'd been sitting in the sun even though it was night. I set it on the porch, turned to leave, but my hand brushed the wrapping one last time. That's when I heard it, not out loud but in my head, like an echo faint at first. A woman's voice mid-sentence. "Can't believe you did that, Mark. After everything." Then a man's grumble, something about money. It stopped as quick as it started. I froze on the steps, heart picking up. Must have been the radio static, or maybe I was overtired. Shook my head, got in the van, drove home. Sarah was in bed when I got in, reading on her phone. I kissed her goodnight, checked on Tommy. He was out cold, clutching his toy truck. Showered off the sweat, but that echo lingered in my mind. Lay there listening to the crickets through the window screen, wondering if I'd imagined it. Next morning I pushed it aside. Coffee toast, dropped Tommy at daycare. Sarah asked if I was okay. I said yeah, just a long night. That evening, shift started normal. But around 8 p.m., dispatch called. Said the package from last night was reported undelivered. What? I told them I'd left it twice. They said the resident complained, so I had to pick it up from the depot and redeliver. Annoying, but fine. Grabbed it on my way out. This time, I didn't just brush it, I held it while driving to think, and there it was again, the echo, clearer now. The woman's voice: "Mark, the kids are asleep. We can't keep fighting like this." Then a slap, sharp, followed by crying. It played in my head like a recording, looping for maybe 10 seconds before fading. I nearly swerved off the road. Pulled over under a streetlight, hands shaking on the wheel. The package sat there, innocent looking. Opened the van door for air. The crickets were chirping loud, almost mocking. What the hell was this? I tore a corner of the paper, peeked inside. A small wooden box, carved plain, about the size of a jewelry case. No markings. Touched it, bam, the echo hit harder. Now visuals too, fuzzy like a dream, a kitchen at night. Woman with red hair rubbing her cheek, man storming out. Smell of burnt dinner in the air. It lasted longer, maybe a minute. I dropped the box back in the package, heart pounding. Drove to the farmhouse fast, left it without knocking, sped away. That night, home late again. Sarah noticed I was off, asked if work was stressing me. I said nah, just heat getting to me. But in bed, the crickets sounded different, like they were echoing that slap. Next day, off shift. Tried to relax, mowed the lawn, played catch with Tommy. But my mind kept drifting to that box. What if it was some kind of recorder? Or maybe I was losing it, heat stroke or something. Afternoon, I got a text from work, package bounced again. Resident denied receiving it. Boss said bring it back tomorrow. I didn't wait. Drove to the depot, picked it up myself. Sat in my car in the parking lot, stared at it. The sun was setting, summer heat still thick. I opened it fully this time, held the box in my palms. The echo came rushing. It was the same couple, but earlier maybe. Mark yelling about bills, woman pleading. Then it shifted, different voice. An old man. Duck says it's terminal. Don't tell the grandkids yet. Coughing wet and ragged. Visual hospital room, beeps, smell of antiseptic. It overlapped with the first, like layers. I set it down, breathed heavy. This thing, it was replaying moments from people who'd touched it. Last hours or something. No, that sounded crazy. Maybe it was bugged, some tech prank. But it felt old, wooden, no wires. I should have thrown it away. But curiosity got me. Took it home, hid it in the garage under some tools. Sarah was making dinner, spaghetti, Tommy's favorite. We ate, talked about his daycare drawing. Normal stuff. But after they went to bed, I snuck out there. The garage was stuffy. Crickets loud through the cracks. Picked up the box again. New echo, a young guy laughing at first, then arguing on the phone. You cheated. After I loaned you the cash. Crash of glass, apartment, beer bottles everywhere. Fist through a window. Blood. I winced, felt the sting in my own hand. It was addictive in a sick way, like peeking through windows you shouldn't. Each time, it dug deeper. Intimate stuff. Fights, confessions. One was a woman whispering to herself in a bathroom. Hell never know about the affair. Shame in her voice, mirror fog from the shower. I felt dirty listening, but I couldn't stop. Touched it again, violent one. Guy grunting, sounds of struggle. Get off me! Then a thud, silence. Visual blurred alley at night. Streetlight flickering, metallic tang of blood. I dropped it, backed away. What if these were real? People who'd handled this box before, their worst moments etched in somehow. Days blurred. I called in sick twice, but bills don't wait. Sarah worried, said I looked pale, asked if I was sleeping. I lied, said stomach bug. Kept the box in the garage, visited it at night. The crickets became my cue. As they started chirping, I'd feel the pull. One echo was a kid, not young, maybe teen. Crying in a car, Dad, please slow down. Screech of tires, impact. I felt the jolt, tasted blood in my mouth. Had to remind myself it wasn't mine. Another elderly woman alone, muttering prayers. Forgive me for what I did to her. Poison bottle clinking. Guilt washed over me, not hers, mine for listening. It escalated. Touched it longer, got full scenes. A business guy on a call, the deal's off if you talk. Threat in his tone, then a muffled scream. Visual office, blinds drawn, shadow of a figure falling. I started noting patterns. The echoes were last touches, final hours before something bad. Death, disappearance, ambiguous but heavy. My hands shook touching anything now, like doorknobs or steering wheel, half expecting echoes. Sarah caught me once, late night in the garage. What are you doing out here? She asked, sleepy-eyed. I hid the box quick. Just organizing tools, I said. She hugged me, smelled like our laundry soap. Come to bed. I did, but lay awake. Crickets drilling into my skull. Then it got personal. One echo and a driver like me, van rumbling. Gotta deliver this quick. Then panic, who's there? Struggle, chokehold. Visual dark road, summer night, crickets in the background. He gasped, went limp. I realized this was how it moved. Handled by victims, passed on. Was I next? Touched it again, desperate for clues. Violent cascading stabbings, betrayals, suicides. A man pushing a woman downstairs. You shouldn't have told. Tump, thump, silence. Blood smells strong. I vomited in the sink after. Couldn't eat. Tommy asked why Daddy was sad. Sarah suggested a doctor. I nodded but didn't go. Instead drove to the farmhouse. Empty, for sale sign up. No one ever lived there. Package was a trap. Back home, held the box one more time. Echo of a child. No, teen girl mom, I didn't mean to take it. Pills rattling. Overdose shame. I cried, then quiet in the garage. Turning point came hot Friday night. Sarah and Tommy visiting her mom gave me space. Alone, I confronted it. Sat with the box, let echoes flood. Hours of pain, affairs exposed. Terminal diagnosis, assaults. One hit close. A father yelling at his son, "You're worthless!" Echo of my own dad years ago. Was it mixing with my memories? Touched longer, saw myself. Nope, a stranger, but felt like mine. Guilt built I was a voyeur, feeding on their misery. Climax hit around 2 deep echo group of voices planning. The box finds the curious ones. They listen, break, pass it on, louder cold, then pain my pain. Vision me in the garage, crickets deafening, hand on box, future. I screamed, threw it across the room. It splintered, Wood cracking. Silence. Picked up pieces, no more echoes. Burned them in the backyard pit, flames licking high in the summer dark. Next days tried normal. Back to work, deliveries routine. Sarah noticed I seemed better. Tommy drew me a picture of our house with crickets around it, said he heard them loud last night. I smiled, but inside unsettled. Threw away the ashes, cleaned the garage. Weeks passed. Summer faded, nights cooler. Thought it was over. But one evening, dropping a package, regular one, my hand brushed the tape. Faint echo, honey, I'm home. Normal, but then twist, who's that? Argument brewing. Dropped it quick. Was it starting again? Or my mind? Now, months later, I still drive those roads. Crickets chirp every summer night, but to me, they sound like whispers. Faint echoes in the background. And that old toolbox in the garage, the one I hid it under. Sometimes, when I open it, I swear I hear a faint crackle like wood settling. Or maybe it's just the house creaking. But I don't touch it anymore.